is a P-I-G pig.
Got that right. How are you, folks? Welcome to the show on a Tuesday. Tomorrow, don't forget, we got a great interview. Adam Carolla, a podcast legend. And, we had a nice chat, nice sit down about how the left is just fucking insane. And Adam's got this, he's got this personality. It's very laid back, and you can tell he's a West Coast guy. And, Nick, and he's very smart, and he's a guy's guy. He's a carpenter, and he boxed. He played football in high school, and he's a smart dude. Anyways, that's tomorrow, so don't miss it, you dinks. Anybody remember that word? Did you when you were young? That was huge in the 70s. You weren't even born. Dinks and dinkweed. I don't know who came up with that. I don't know if that was a New England, Massachusetts thing, because we have our own way of talking up there, but I think that might have been a national trend. Fuck, I got like a something. Is that broad enough for you?
Good job.
Good talk. Feels like a splinter in my pants. It's right in my, cutting into my thigh. Anyways, anybody watch any hockey last night? It was only one game, Florida at Toronto, and it was a good one. Toronto surprisingly looked like they handled, but Florida showed in the third period, we ain't going anywhere. We're the defending champs. Ended up 5-4. There's a guy on Florida who I would kill to make a Boston Bruin, and any other team too. A guy named Sam Bennett. He's 6'1", about 200 pounds, but he plays like he's 240 and 6'5". He just knocks, and he's been suspended a couple times for headshot. He's the perfect hockey player for me. Those are the guys I like that have, they got a reputation, and people think twice. Other people call it dirty. I call it playoff hockey. Anyways, he punched Brad Marchand in the face last year during the playoffs with that, like a real sneaky. I said that wasn't a penalty. Then after the 8th angle, I went, oh. He fucking here's Marchand's face, and he goes like that and knocked Marchand down and he left the game. So, and he's done it before. Why do I admire shit like that? Because he's a great hockey player. He can score, he can skate, and last night he cracked the goalie in the side of the head for Toronto. It really didn't. I said that before, though. If I see 9 angles, he elbowed the goalie in the head, Toronto's goalie, who's this guy playing out of his mind, so it wouldn't be a bad move to get this guy. Anyways, he caught him in the head during action. You can't tell if it was whatever. So the goalie comes out and starts throwing up. You were wondering if there was a concussion. He played for a few more minutes. He played for like 8 more minutes, I think, the goalie. And then went over to the bench and started throwing up, which usually is a telltale sign. I've had concussions, and my first one I threw up. The trainers up at Maine used to say, you got to, I remember the trainer, he was right from Maine. You got to stay up at night and find one of them cheerleaders to keep you up. That's what he said to me. A guy named Wes, I still remember it. And I did. You don't want to go to sleep with it. Anyways, so it wasn't even a penalty call. They didn't call a penalty. But prior to that, this goalie got hit in the head with a wrist shot that knocked his mask off earlier in the game, which might have contributed to this. You know what I mean? At least it's good cover for Bennett anyways. But they didn't even call a penalty on it, so he's not going to get suspended or anything. I'm just saying, I love guys that play like that. Not dirty, but because he's going to get it. He's going to get cracked in the head. They all get it. Some of them are more. Tom Wilson is the ultimate for me. This probably means nothing to you people who like NBA basketball, and you are. I can't say that. God damn it. Why? Why can't I? You goo gobblers. You people that watch the NBA really have your heads up your kazoos. I don't watch them, but I did hear my Celtics blew one last night. They were up by 20. First game of the series against the Knicks. They're up by 20 in the third quarter, and they lost. Uh-oh. Okay, that's enough of that. Wipe's good. What? Trump trying to help Hollywood libs. I don't know why he'd do that. They are the arch enemy and they hate his guts. But why? Because he's a businessman. He wants what's best for the country. Try teaching these Marxists who make films in Hollywood. Filmmakers and Hollywood douchebag financiers are baffled, to say the least, by President Trump's announcement that he wants a 100% tariff on movies produced outside the United States. Why would that baffle? Oh, that's right. You idiots wouldn't know how to make it. That's why you make movies and do what I do for a living. You don't know shit about business. This is the thing. Nobody questioned Obama when it was a racial incident issue because he was the last word because he was biracial. Well, you know what? Trump is the last word on business and negotiations. He proved it his whole life, and he's been proving it since he's been president twice. So why don't you shut your mouths and go along? And some of them did, actually. Some of them were open-minded. Of several movie studios streaming industry executives who spoke with CNN. How is that fucking station still in business? Go to CNN online, excuse me, and read the headlines. You couldn't make a more Marxist page. Negative Trump. No. Who spoke with CNN are downright apoplectic because they believe the president hasn't thought about the ramifications of his proposal. No, he just throws business shit out there. He doesn't. We're just imagining he has a ton of companies coming back to this country, which they are, by the way. But you guys know more about tariffs and business. Hasn't thought about the ramifications of his proposal, which could decimate an iconic industry. You're decimating it yourself with your woke horse shit. Nobody's going to the movie, ain't because of Trump, you dink. He's trying to help you out. You dink. Yeah. You
shut up! Will you?
You really should listen to him and shut up.
Will you shut?
On first blush, whatever the fuck that means, it's shocking and would represent a virtually complete halt of production, one industry insider remarked. But in reality, he has no jurisdiction to do this, and it's too complex to enforce. Well, who said that? Ruth Buzzy, she died. Other sources are taking a more open-minded view. See, some people asserting that Trump is instigating a dialogue about a real issue, so-called runaway production, which I don't know if that means they're running out of Hollywood and going other places to make movies where it's cheaper in other countries and other states. I also thought it meant runaway as in budget, when you're supposed to have a movie under budget and they spend $6 trillion. Trump would be great at that, by the way, making you stick to your budget if he was a movie producer. That has left many Americans in the movie and TV production sector out of work. In its current form, the tariff doesn't make sense. Jay Shores, vice chairman of UTA, I was with them for a coffee once, I think. I've been with them all, fucking William Morris, APA, UTA, STD. Anyways, yeah, Jay Shores, vice chairman of United Talent Agency, said that. And I don't know why we would listen to you about business.
Who gives a fuck what you think?
American actors and directors would generally prefer to work close to home, but the fact is it's cheaper for Hollywood studios to pay for everyone to get on. You don't think Trump knows this, right? To get on planes, pay for hotels, because the cost of labor, well, that's you guys in your unions. Stick up your wazoos. You back that shit too. Lack of rebates. I never understood how rebates work. And the ability to make things overseas is infinitely cheaper. Yeah, that never crossed Trump's mind. When he. How much can you hate a person? It's some of the industry sources who spoke with CNN doubt that any such tariff plan will actually be implemented. It may or may not, but this is how Trump does business. If you're paying attention. He'll throw something out there. Let's make Canada the 50th state. Let's take over Greenland. He throws shit out like that, right? You think it's trolling, but you're not sure. Then he comes back to it later. And you go, oh, it was a starting point for negotiations. He's a fucking genius, actually, is what he is, business-wise. Personality, yeah. I like it. They interviewed some people. This isn't in the show. On, what's his name? Van Jones, the black dude on CNN. Or MSNBC, I can't remember. Huh? I think it's CNN. Yeah, is it CNN? He went down to somewhere down south, maybe it was Atlanta. He was talking to 3 or 4 black people about if you had to vote for Trump again, would you? And they were saying absolutely. And one guy guy goes yes, and Van Jones goes, why would you? He goes, because he's an asshole. That's what a black dude said. Because he's an asshole, but he's an authentic one. I wanted to kiss that guy on the lips. What he's saying is, you could be an asshole being a very effective leader, though. Van Jones laughed. Van Jones doesn't bother me. Sometimes he actually sounds like he's got a brain and other things. Anyways, as an intellectual property, movies are a form of services, not goods. Services are not ordinarily subject to tariffs, and it's unclear. Well, sometimes they are. I went on to read, but it was too long. Trump's tariffs on foreign movies would work. They're not sure if it would work. We're going to meet with the industry. This is Trump talking. I want to make sure they're happy about it, Trump said. Wow, he sounds so unfair. I just laugh. Everybody's second guessing this guy's business IQ. Who the fuck do you think you guys are, especially in Hollywood? You'd move to China tomorrow if you could. I mean, you already go everywhere. You come down here to make movies. For Christ's sake, I had Clint Eastwood right on my street in Savannah shooting a movie. Why? Tax breaks. I was part of the thing. I know what's going on. So give him a chance. He might know something. And he's looking at it, Trump's looking at it as helping out us as a country in the long run, because it's a huge industry. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. And it's one thing the Americans do good, actually, better than make movies. He's looking at it long term, but you fuckstains couldn't do that. What? Do you have to be like that? Yeah, I do. Suck a bag of cheese and get back to me. Let's move on to gain of function fucked is the headline. Wow, that's nasty. President Donald Trump signed an executive order banning gain of function research on pandemic pathogens that many believe was the true source of the coronavirus pandemic. Yeah, many believe, the experts, and now it's been proven. But again, you people don't want to keep the wet thing alive. I didn't even know he was talking about this. He's doing more shit. The research typically involves modification of existing viruses in order to make them more infectious. I wonder if I should do this joke because I gave it to Gutfeld for his monologue. I said it's like giving a guy with syphilis free Viagra in a Learjet for the week. If that doesn't make the fucking dialogue, that doesn't make the monologue, I will cut my own bag off. In order to make them more infectious and studying the outcomes in order to prevent and treat possible pandemics. After the global pandemic, many theorized that the source of the virus was a laboratory leaking involving gain-of-function research. Possible Wuhan Institute Virology.
我们之前说过91号是谁手上有
And there's your evidence. Yes, a lot of people, and the people who came out and said that were labeled bigots and racist. And why is it the China virus? Because it's from China. That's when everybody fell in love with him. That like him, It's from China. And the shit he got for that, how racist, you would have thought he said, it's from the Chinks. Yeah. It's the Chinks. Very smart people. Trump's order ends federal funding for the research in countries like China, Iran, and others without sufficient oversight and plumbing. It also orders U.S. agencies to identify such research that might imperil public safety and end federal funding for any programs. For decades, folks, policies overseeing gain-of-function research on pathogens, toxins, and potential pathogens have lacked adequate enforcement, transparency, and top-down oversight. See Fauci. What's his first name? Frank? Same thing. Same Frank Fauci. Sounds like a labor guy. Frank, the number 7, Senator. Senator, the number 7.
Local 389.
Yeah, the 389. Look, we do more for the community than anybody around here. And top-down oversight read a fact sheet from the administration. Researchers have not acknowledged the legitimate potential for societal harms that this kind of research poses.
You are correct, sir.
Gee, where do we get that idea? So Anthony Fauci looked under oath right into the eyes of senators and congressmen and just fucking said, that's not true. Mr. Paul, frankly, you don't know what you're talking about. Remember? He's the one who hooked up Wuhan with, with the dollars to do this research. And he also tortured a bunch of beagles, by the way. That came out. The beagles used to squeal in pain when they were experimenting on them. So Mr. Fauci came up with a great idea. Remove their voice boxes. There you go. It's hard for me to badmouth an Italian, but that's some old school Italian shit right there. That's something my grandfather would do. Hey, there's a bird's nest. Get the bleach. It's sort of that mentality. Fauci, as educated as he is, apparently still living in Naples in 1860. So Trump's saying, enough of that. What is he doing? He's being an adult. It's tremendous. He's not leaving nothing unturned. And he's doing something, by the way, I just mentioned the dogs thing. He's doing something about that. That came out today, too late for the show. And you know what they'll say? Yeah, but he's doing nothing about the mice. The mice are getting tortured. Suck a bag of fuck stains. Let's move on to a weird story. It's a couple days old, but I found it really interesting because it's still in the news. And hands off, Hodgi was the headline. Mahendra Patel was looking for Tylenol in George Walmart 2 months ago when he encountered a woman with 2 children riding a motorized cart she was driving. And I'm surprised. Usually women who do that are about 5'4", 711 pounds. And they crash into the Malamars on purpose. And the cookies fall all over the place. And they go, you broke them, you got to keep them. And they inhale them right there. And then they throw up behind the fresh produce because they see fresh produce, they throw up. Anyways, she was riding a motorized cart. And asked for help he asked her for help to find the medication. Which to me, right there, something goes up. This is an Indian guy. And you're going to ask, first of all, can we put the picture up of the woman? Yeah. That's why he asked her. Yeah. This complicates things. Maybe he didn't want to steal the kid. I would have stopped her too. I would have said, look, never mind, I'm married. Honey, I love you. She's pretty good looking for her. Anyways, so she was in the cart with her kid, or kids, whatever. And what happens next, we have it on video. He's being accused of reaching over and grabbing the kid. And anyways, here's the footage.
Mahendra Patel walked into a Georgia Walmart looking
That was
for
his first
Tylenol.
mistake.
What happened next would land him in police custody.
He saw white trash he's never seen before.
Kidnap a 2-year-old boy. Surveillance video from March 18th shows Patel encountering mother of 2, Carolyn Miller, seen here on a motorized scooter. Patel asks Miller if she knows where the Tylenol is. Then, as the cart moves, Patel appears to reach towards Miller's lap and briefly takes something into his arms. It's here that Miller claims Patel put both hands on her boy and grabbed him out of her lap.
Pause.
In an incident.
And the kid said,
Not my dad! You also hear something! Ugly ass fucking... You're not my dad! You're not my dad!
keeper. We usually don't use those with the sound effect, but that is too good. Excuse me, folks, that was gross. That's just some Cub Scout's ass I had the other night. Backing up on me. Anyways, the surveillance video is very clear that this was not a kidnapping or attempted kidnapping. Patel's lawyer, Ashley Merchant, good name for a lawyer, Merchant, told CNN, there was no struggle. There was nothing like that, Merchant said. Well, no. As soon as the woman screamed out, what happened, he says, maybe it's in the story later on, he says she clipped, which it looks true, she clipped one of the displays with her cart. And he thought the kid was going to fall out. I don't buy it. Did we show his face already? Yeah, we did. Like I said, most Indian guys don't look like, but this guy. I saw him staring into a middle school in Calcutta when I was over there. I had a duplex. He looks kind of creepy, I got to be honest. Anyways, with a bond hearing set for Tuesday, Merchant argues her client is innocent, partly citing the video that she subpoenaed from Walmart and shared with the media outlets, and of course CNN. CNN has attempted to reach the accuser, Caroline Miller, who previously has spoken publicly about the incident, for comment. When reached by phone, a family member told CNN that Miller declined to comment on the case, and they wouldn't leave her alone.
Hello? Hello?
No, I don't.
Hello? Hello?
Anyways, so that's a judgment call. I need more angles. It's sort of like a hockey hit by Sam Bennett. I need 9 angles I don't know. If I had to bet right now, I'm leaning the guy's a little creepy. Not for nothing, folks. Folks, if you like stand-up comedy, go to a place called Zanies in Rosemont, Illinois, which is, holy smokes, May 15th and 16th. Today is the 6th. 9 days. Oh, my God. May 15th and 16th, I'll be at Zanies in Rosemont, Illinois. Great club. Friday show is the 16th. Sold out, I think. There's 3 tickets left or something, Andy said. And May 15th is a Thursday, so it's a little slower. So please, do me a favor. It doesn't matter. On Thursday, I'll be trying all kinds of shit. And I'm funnier when I'm trying new shit. It doesn't work, and I beat myself to a pulp. You'll enjoy it. Anyways, also, if you want to support this show, go to the merchandise page. And I know it's May and 100 degrees, but buy some winter hats and bras and pantaloons. We have hoop skirts. Nick DiPaolo hoop skirts are the new thing. Anyways, do that at nicktip.com. You can watch full episodes of my show, Lotto with Crowded, and all exclusive Rumble content. You can watch that ad-free with 1 subscription. You heard me, ad-free with 1 subscription. So join Rumble Premium by clicking the link in the description. You'll be glad. You'll be glad you did it.
Hi, good night, everybody.